Yes, guys, welcome back to the Ilovesesh podcast. We've got one of my favourites in the building, Mark Radford. How we doing?
All good, thanks, brother.
Finally.
Thanks for asking me down here, man.
Finally. Privilege. This is an honour. I'm not even lying to you.
Do you know what? I'll be honest, when you first asked me, I was so busy just with work and everything else, and I just thought, let me make time to come down here and sit with you and talk, because I really appreciate what you're doing, man. It's full respect to you, bruv, seriously.
Nah, you know what? I ain't gonna lie to you. I've been following you for years.
Wicked.
So everything you've done, it's been amazing. Everything you've done for the scene makes sense.
Thank you.
I think you've done a lot.
Thank you.
One of the pioneers. No one can't say otherwise. You're definitely one of the pioneers. You've been pushing it for years. What made you DJ? What pushed you to start DJing?
Do you know what? It's weird. I've got pictures of me when I'm a baby, setting up a DJ booth in my mum and dad's front room. I think the earliest picture I've got, I must have been about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I've got a Fisher-Price tape deck, an old turntable that my mum and dad had. And I used to save my pocket money up and buy 7-inch records. Yeah. So I used to religiously watch Top of the Pops on the telly. And I'd be like, right, I want to go and buy that record. So I'd say, everyone else is out there buying toys.
Manchester's buying records.
I'm going out there buying 7-inch records. And still get the same buzz. I remember the buzz it used to give me back then. I used to run, it was Woolworths in the town centre.
Yeah, Woolworths, yeah.
I used to run downstairs and there'd be the toy section, and then there was a listening pole. So you could go over to this pillar where they had a turntable and you could listen to the records that you wanted to buy. I mean, that was before any record shop. I was a kid, and that was when I first started. I used to go to all the family parties, like a 60th or just a family party. Yeah. You'd have Disco Dave doing the DJing, and I'd just go in there and I'd just want to start being there with him and handing him his records or getting him his drinks, just fascinated in what they were doing. So that goes back to when I was a kid, and it always stuck with me. And then as I got older, obviously what I was doing grew. When I went to school, I was always hijacking the school discos.
Just taking over.
Let me play you tune. And this was back before even dance music blew up. I'm 48, so we're going back a long time.
Fucking hell, mate. You look younger.
Cheers. So we're going back a long, long time when I was at school, in before the Summer of Love and all that, when rave music first started. So there wasn't even no rave music. It was like pop music. But I was just fascinated by it and wanted to play. I'd go through the DJ's records and go, let me play that one, let me play that one. And then when I'd tell him, they'd never let me play because I didn't know how to use a decks when I was at school. But every time they'd listen to me and they'd play the tunes that I'm telling them to play, the disco would go mad. Yeah. Disco, that's what it was.
That's how it was disco. Yeah.
And then when I went to college, and obviously the rave music blew up, I was just like, this is what I want to do. Got into raving from a very early age. Where I lived in Harlow, it was hard for me to go to rave, so I was determined to get on a train, come back to London, go. And then I got on, I was doing all the college discos. We used to do like little parties in and around Harlow, any little club that would let us in. But I was making a point, like I said, of going to London. So I'd go earlier in the day, traipse around all the record shops and look for the tunes that I'd heard the week before, go in there, be that guy that's singing the tune. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's serious though.
The guys were looking at me like, what are you talking about? I was like 15, 16 at the time, going around all these record shops, Wide for Sound in Hackney, Black Market, all them places, on my own. And I remember mum and dad be like, what are you going to, you can't be going to London on your own. I was from Essex, bruv, little kid from Harlow. No one's watching me, mum. You know what I mean? They don't care about me. There's a little white kid bowling around these roughneck estates, going into these shops, and then because I was relentless with it, I was going in every week. I was at college, but when I was at college, I had a part-time job. I used to work in home base, to sit on the tills, like the green oval, the brown clip-on tie. And all of my money was just going on either going out to a party, and I didn't used to go to pubs, didn't used to drink back then. So it was just back going to the raves and then going to the record shop the following week and trying to find the tunes that I'd heard. So that was when I was like 15, 16. So we're talking around 90, around 1990, 89, 90, long time ago. And then I got onto a pirate station, Weekend Rush.
Okay, yeah.
That was playing jungle, drum and bass.
Oh, so that's where you started from?
Yeah. My name was Dubplate back in the day. That was my first DJ name. And I got given that because three of my good friends that I grew up with, three Jamaican brothers, I used to go around to their house every Sunday and they'd be playing dub reggae. Their uncle runs Observer Sound. Don't know if you've heard of Observer from West London. They're a reggae sound system. So I would go around there every Sunday and literally they lived about a 5-minute walk from my house. But as soon as you come out my front door, you could hear their beeline. They'd have stacks in their house. How their mum used to let them get away with it, I never know.
Yeah.
But I went round there and fell in love with the music they were playing, but then wanted to mix
with a different sound.
The acapella jungle, acapella reggae tracks over jungle. So I was doing that before they even called it jungle.
Okay.
So I remember the first time we went to Telepathy, Marshgate Lane, and DJ Ron was the first one I heard play that sort of music. And I was like, I'm doing this in their bedroom, just taking jungle beats. Like, it was like hardcore and early drum and bass before it was even jungle, and just mixing it with like Frankie Paul acapellas and stuff like that. So that's where my name Dubplate came from. My brethren gave me the name Dubplate. They were like, because you're making dub plates. And because I was so young, and all I was doing was emulating what I was hearing in the clubs. Didn't have even though I was doing the little a cappella things, I wasn't in a position to be able to source the music before anyone else was getting it with me. So I was going to the record shops, and obviously the record shops were sorting me out white labels and stuff, but I was only sort of playing the tracks that I was already here being played.
Played already, yeah.
So one thing that I always say to a DJ is try and find music that you're not hearing other people play. Because back then I was doing mixtape after mixtape after mixtape, going to raves, giving finding who the promoter was, giving him my tape, saying, please listen to it. And they'd go and listen to it, and all they're hearing is stuff that they've heard their DJs play like weeks and weeks before, because they've had them on Dubplate or promo.
True.
So it wasn't until later in life that I understood that. I was just like, why am I not getting anywhere? I've got all these amazing tunes. And I was, I'd go and source my music, and I'd always make sure to have brand new music and playing on pirate radio station and grafting. Oh, don't get me wrong, I was getting a few little bookings, but I could never break into a scene, whether it was the jungle and then getting onto the funky, the soulful house, the garage, because I was only emulating what I was hearing their big boys already play. That was their scene. They'd got it on lock.
Yeah.
So unless I was going to come in and do something completely different to what was going on, that's why I didn't really get anywhere back then. That's what, I believe that. I know that's how it is. And I was so involved in just going raving that I didn't take a step back and think, why am I not getting anywhere?
So just still going out, just doing what you're doing.
Carried on doing it. I just love doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why it got to the point in sort of my early to late 20s where I thought, you know what, I've seen all these other people having massive careers, and I thought, this ain't going to happen. I'm just going to keep doing it because I love doing it and not stress about it. I had so many mates that were giving up and just stopping. I'm like, well, I'm never going to stop. Even if it's just a hobby for the rest of my life, it's what I love doing. And it was like an off chance that happened, because at the time it was when we started, before even Can't Stop, Won't Stop started, the guys that run Can't Stop, Won't Stop, Will and Dagger, they were doing a Sunday daytime party called Church at the old Herbal nightclub on Kingsland Road.
I know.
Yeah. So they started that. So basically, it was just for a group of mates that didn't want to stop raving. So we'd all go to Egg, and then they'd be like, right, where can we go after Egg? And there was nowhere for us to go, really. So they were like, well, let's start a party at 7 a.m.
After Egg, innit? Yeah, makes sense.
That can go on all day Sunday till Monday morning. So that's basically what they did. And then at the time, I was playing more sort of soulful house, a bit of garage. And I was getting some good bookings, just like people's parties that I knew, and everywhere I played, it would always go off. Yeah. But again, I was doing nothing different. I was just kind of playing the tracks that everyone else was playing, but putting them together in a way that would smash up the party. And then they started the party, and then I can't remember I think I was out with them the week before somewhere, and I said to him, why come you haven't booked me for that party you're starting next week? He was like, you don't really play that music, Rads. I said, well, I can play anything. Do you know what I mean? It's like, just
do what I'm doing.
Put me, and I'll see what the people want, and I'll play what I feel they need to play. And obviously, the first time I played, it was like they wanted it quite hard, so I had to really dig deep and play B-sides or dub mixes of deep house that I've got. And then I went to one party with them. I think it was the week after, and we're in the club now. It was, I've explained this story before, but it was a very pivotal moment for me. It was what used to be called the End. It was Den and Centro then. Remember the End in Holborn? No. So a guy called Raymondo Rodriguez used to do a party called, I think it was Wrong at the time. So it was a Sunday morning party. Anyway, so I went there and everyone was just like, had been out all weekend and the music they were playing was very, very minimal and I was just hating it. I was like, come on, this is going. All my mates were just out of it. And I was like, I can't stay in. This music's doing my head in. And then all of a sudden he played this one tune and I was like, what the hell is that? It got me up out of the chair, ran over to the deck. I was like, bro, what is this tune? It was In White Rooms by Booker Shade. So I don't know if you know the tune.
No, I don't.
So their stuff is like jungle, big, like electronic jungle bass lines over like electro beats. So it kind of, I saw how mad everyone in the club went to this one tune. I was like, right, I need to start finding stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, right, if I can put a whole set together like that. Because as soon as this tune finished, it just went back to plod, plod, plod. But when he played this tune, the whole club went mental. So right, I went home. Like literally, it was, went on Beatport, Juno, Traxsource and found any tune that they'd made and then started finding tracks that were associated in their charts. And by the end of the week, I'd got a set together of this music that was real high energy, like more harder house than what I was hearing people play, but with that melodic but hard bass on, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought, right, this goes down the next week. So I'd practiced playing the tunes all week. Bearing in mind, I've come from playing like soulful house and garage, but I'd seen what this music was doing to people. But no one was putting a whole set together like it. So come the next week, Sunday morning, they were like, right, you're going to play for 4 hours today. I was like, what? I'm like, yeah, like, we're open till 2 o'clock in the morning. So I think I started, must have been about 10 o'clock on the Sunday morning, went through. And in the end, it was going off in there so much. I must have played for about 6 hours. I was playing tunes over again, but they didn't know. And I was like, right, I've got something here. Within a month, people were queuing down the road to come into the club on a Sunday. To listen to me, to listen to, it was before Briefly got involved. There was another guy called Maximus.
Okay, yeah.
Early days of him and Lawrence Keaton as well. Keaton was one of the early ones. And yes, it was mad. So I remember I'd go out into the smoking area and it'd be like people like Dominic Danielle, Lady T, all these DJs that were doing more than me at the time that didn't know who I was. Just coming to listen to you. We'd come to hear that little white guy, like Radford, his name is. And I'm like, right, what? This is mad. So then I was like, right, I've got something here. So it was around the time that you had the funky scene was kind of just petering off a little bit. So Carlos was still doing his thing. You had Gavin Peters, Cy says, all that were doing their thing still. And then I think because people were getting a little bit bored of that, I started seeing the people that were going to them raves turning up.
Stepping over to yours.
And they were like, right, this music's new, it's fresh, it's exciting. But I was playing tunes, some of the tunes were like 10 years old, but it was just the sound of them. And I dug deep in them days, proper deep, spend hours and hours and hours looking for music just to find that right sound that I knew had the energy that was going to have people slapping walls like they did in jungle raves, because that's where my first love of dance music comes from.
Yeah.
So it's got to have that energy still. So, you know, that's what I say to people. My music is house, but it's jungle, but at house tempo, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Got those elements in it that I love. So yeah, that's where it came from. Like from when I was a kid, just plug in. Yeah, until I got that break, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to. Yeah, just keep plugging. That's what you got to do. I think that's how it starts as well. I think a lot of people give up as well. I know you probably know a lot of DJs who was coming the same time as you, who's just literally fell off. I know that's a rude word to say. Yeah. Loads must have fell off, but only if they had the same mentality as you.
It's hard though.
Do you know what I mean?
It's hard. Admittedly, there's times that I've never thought, like I said, I've never thought I was going to give up, but I'd kind of resign myself to the fact of like, I'm not going to get anywhere with this. It's, I'm not going to get anywhere. But you just, if anyone's feeling like that, I'm a testament to that you've just got to keep plugging away. For people to say to me that when I say, come to me and say to me, like, you're responsible for a sound. I'm like, my God, people look at me like I used to look at people like Randall, Jumping Jack Frost, Easy, people like that created something different. And it was weird. I never thought in a million years it would happen.
Yeah.
So to hear that, to have people like yourself and people that I meet out in the clubs and other DJs give me that credit, it's humbling and mind blowing.
There's no expiry date on all of that. Like, your time is your time. When it's your time, it's your time. Do you know what I mean? It might not be the first couple of years, might not be the first 5 years, but it will come.
Totally.
If it's for you, it's for you. That's what I believe. Definitely. You know what I'm trying to say. So, look, I don't want to say well done, but well done. You know what I mean? Like, look, it's nothing wrong with being a pioneer, There's nothing wrong with being a leader. There's nothing wrong with being on top and you're seeing everybody. And I won't say copy your sound, but you know what I mean? You open a pathway for everyone. Do you know what I mean? And it's I would love seeing that. And
I like to think that I can still do that for other people as well. Yeah, especially like with the label. That's one of the main reasons I started the label. When I was on Rinse, I was getting sent all this music because at the time I was playing more sort of deep house. Kind of moved on a little bit from the sound I was playing for Can't Stop, Won't Stop. Because the sounds were changing.
Yeah, it's mad.
And it went to more sort of garagey, deep house. But then there was a lot of producers that were listening to me on Rinse that were ex-dubstep producers, ex-drum and bass producers that were like, we like that sound still that you were playing back then. They started making all this music and then everyone started sending it to me. I'm like, what can we do with it? And I was like, you know what? Because I'd already been brought into Audio Rare because Audio Rare was a party that was already running before I got asked.
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask about that anyway.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a minute. So anyway, I was like, right, I'm going to start a label and just put this music out because no one else is putting it out. There's no other label that's releasing music like that.
So I might as well just be the first, isn't it?
So I started it. It's just gone from there,
So I was going to ask you about Audio, but is it Plus Records? Plus Records? Is it Plus Records?
Right, so Plus Recordings was a label that I started just as a feeder label.
Oh, so it's recordings, it's not
Plus Recordings.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was Audio Rehab, and then after a few years, I was getting inundated with so much music, and some of it wasn't quite ready for the level of what I'd got Audio Rehab to, but I could hear the potential in it, and I didn't want these people to just think, I'm not good enough. So I was like, you know what, let me start another label.
Makes sense.
That stuff doesn't have, because I think so many people lose interest and lose faith in themselves because everyone's like, it's not perfect, it's not this, it's not that. But I'm like, just give people a chance. Let people hear the music. It doesn't have to sound perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
I think people like to hear people's journeys musically as well. They like to go back and go, your music sounded like that back then, but now it sounds like that. But then what some producers do is they go, can you delete that one from your library? We don't want people to hear that we made that back then.
Oh, is that what they do? Is that what they do?
Yeah. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Surely everything that you've made, you should still want people to hear as part of your journey. Yeah. But they don't. They might change their sound and then go, can you get rid of that? I think a lot of it's pressure from, they might they might go on and get in with a different clique or get an agent or this, and then they go, you can't be associated with this or with that. If you want to get there,
you have to just cut that out.
Get rid of that because you've got to start again from scratch. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me. I like to listen to an artist and think, right, that's where they started off. Listen to how far they progressed. So that was what Plus Recordings was about. Because like I said, I had so much music coming in, and then, like I said, it got to the point where I was just trying to run so many different things at once. And then I was like, something's got to stop for a while. So I kind of shelved that one for a bit and concentrated more on Audio Rehab. And then, like I said, because there was so much going on musically and the scene was shifting so much, I was kind of running out of artists even for Audio Rehab at the time. Because the core artists from Audio Rehab had moved on, they wanted to do the more tech house stuff, which happens, which people wanted to do. But I kind of got dragged in that way a little bit without wanting to go in that direction.
Is that a bad thing? I got mixed reviews about that. Do you think that's...
For me, personally, yes. Because I didn't want to ever just get dragged, because I was leading the scene. Don't forget, Audio Rehab, we were like the first ones to be releasing that sort of music. And then I was kind of getting dragged into another scene, and people were like, oh, you should start releasing stuff like that. I'm like, well, no, I don't want to.
Yeah.
That's not us. That's not me. I'd rather rein it back in a little bit. But then everyone around me, that's what they was all doing. I was getting sent so much music, and I was like, do you know what? I'm going to start releasing some of it and see where it goes. Yeah. But it was never really a sound that I loved. Even, if I'm honest, I don't love tech house.
Yeah.
I'm not a tech house lover.
Okay, yeah.
It's not got what I want in music.
It ain't got that deep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's not got that
I know you're
London edge. Do you know what I mean? Which is what I love about music.
Yeah.
It's because of where I've come from. You know, I spent my childhood growing up in London.
Yeah. So you know, it's different energy, innit?
Different energy. I like the rawness. I like the breakbeaty kind of drums. I like the ragga samples. I like the dirty.
Facts.
Massive fat in your face, melodic but booming bass lines. Like I said, my music's jungle but slowed down with a 4/4 beat over it. And tech doesn't do that for me. I tried and got dragged into it a little bit. Even tried dabbling, making a few tracks like it. And I just thought, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
You know, hand on heart, if I'm honest. I think everyone gets...
Yeah, easily.
You all get dragged in. You know, for someone to say, oh, I'm never going to change what I'm doing, it's impossible not to, because your environment, the people you got wrapped around you.
Anyway, innit? Yeah.
Exactly. If their energy's changing and they're wanting to get into something different, you're going to move in that direction, whether you do like it or not. So I had to take a step back. And I think it was lockdown that really, the first lockdown really gave me an opportunity, because everything had shut.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, do you know what? Even with the parties, I was getting dragged in a direction that I didn't really want to go. You know, I was having to book artists, big headline artists, to sell out, obviously, clubs. Because the clubs want the headline artists, which is understandable. For
the tech ravers want headline artists.
Yes.
That's one thing I don't like about them.
All the clubs do. Even though we were, we'd sold out Ministry for 7 years.
Yeah,
we was in
isn't it?
Every party we were selling it out. But they were still like, need a headliner, need headliners. And in the beginning, I was inundated because I had all the DJs were playing the right sort of music. But then towards the last few years before lockdown, I started really struggling which headliners I was going to book, because the headliners would come to the party and they weren't playing the right music for the vibe of the party. So I had the Audio Rehab ravers coming that wanted to hear us lot.
You're getting them lot.
And then the headliner would come on, and the music would be up there with us. I'd be playing. Headliner would come on. People would leave the room and go into the bar where Carnell or someone else was playing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, that's the struggle I had, because I was trying to keep the club happy and sell as many tickets for the night as possible. But the people weren't buying the tickets for the headliners. They were buying the tickets to come and hear us.
Yeah, no, that's real stuff.
But it was confusing. And then what I started to see was that the core following for Audio Rehab weren't coming to the parties anymore, because they're like, well, you're not booking the DJs we want to hear.
You're not paying that decent.
I was stuck, because I was trying to keep the club happy, because obviously I wanted to keep the party going. My main aim was to get to 10 years in Ministry. I was like, to get to 10 years. Who else has done that in recent years? Even 7 years. I'm running the longest running residencies in there ever. We sold it out, every single party.
Yeah.
And when lockdown hit, I said to myself, do you know what? When I go back to doing parties, I'm not doing it like that anymore.
You're just doing it how it's supposed to be.
I'm going to do it with me and the boy, because over the lockdown, I've got some amazing producers again that are making the right sound. And the music I've got now is better than ever. What's coming on Audio Rehab this year is just exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Original, the Audio Rehab sound that's completely different from anything else. And these guys are just making it for me, and they're all starting their own little sub-labels. So the scene's growing again. So I said to myself, if I have to go back down to doing a 200 capacity club just for me and the boys, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because that's where I started.
Yeah, so be it. Yeah, it's not bad thing.
So obviously we've just done the showcase at Ministry, which went really well. But we just did the one room then, the 103. So I didn't have to worry about booking headliners, they were like, you can just put your guys in there, you do your thing.
Oh, okay, yeah, you had the hub and that in that as well, innit?
Yeah. So they was in the, so I didn't program the whole night. Ministry did. They just asked me into program, which is easy for me.
Yeah, way easier, isn't it? Yeah.
Because like I said, I don't want to have to go down that road of being, because I'm not a promoter at the end of the day. I'm a DJ that's got a record label, a bunch of other artists that I want to push. So when it gets to the point where I have to start thinking like a promoter, I'm like, I don't want to do it.
I see you pushing a lot of other artists though as well within the last year as well too. Yeah. I see you pushing we've got a couple people up north as well, innit? I see you got up in there
Danny
as well.
Ghost from Wolves, Nocturnal Joe from Derby.
Yeah.
Jack Burt from Cambridge.
Oh, Jack Burt from Cambridge? Okay, yeah. I've been keeping an eye on him as well.
Them guys there are making some amazing music, but they've always been into the core sound. When I used to go and play at Pandora in Birmingham, Danny, Joe were always there. When they were kids, they'd come every week and they'd be like, we love Audio Rehab. So they're making the sound what they listen to and what you like. Listen to what they love. What you play. Jack Burt as well. He's another one. He just loves the deep tech. He gets it. You know, he's another Hugo. He's like Hugo Messiaen reborn. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the stuff he's making. So it's really exciting again. You know, I feel like I've got like when Audio Rehab first came around and I just had a core hub of sick producers that were making music just for me.
Yeah.
I've got that again with a new bunch of guys.
Okay, yeah.
That are just on it. We just want to push that sound.
Okay.
So yeah, back to, you know, it's destroy and rebuild sometimes.
Yeah. I definitely believe that.
You have to strip everything back and start again.
I definitely believe that as well.
Which is what I've, you know, thankfully been able to do.
Yeah.
And the guys that I was working with originally have gone on there doing their things, all doing well in the sound that they're into. You know, it happens.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and go, oh, you shouldn't have done that. You've left blah, blah, blah. Admittedly, at one point, it felt like overnight everyone just ran away.
Yeah, it happens. You know how it goes, man. Everything moves.
Of course. You can't. Some people would sit there with their head in their hands and go, oh, I'm giving up. Which I've seen happen. You see record labels die overnight.
Yeah, you must have seen, you've been in the game for years, so you must have seen a lot of stuff.
Loads. But again, it's I had to say to myself, what labels do I look at from when I was younger that are still going, that I want to have that longevity? From when I was like playing jungle, it's like Metalheads, Ram Recordings, Movie Shadow, them kind of labels. Then, you know, the house labels you got now, you like Hot Tracks, Defected, Hot Creations. What do they do that's made them so successful? And if you say to someone, if you used to play any one of those labels, tracks, without saying what label they're on to a DJ that knows what you're talking about or someone that knows music, if you play a Metalheads track to someone, they're going to go, that's Metalheads. Defected, you're going to go, well, that's on Defected. So that's what you have to be. You can't be a chameleon if you're trying to have longevity in this. You've got to stick to what you're known for.
Stamp down them.
Create a sound and keep that sound. Don't get me wrong, it's going to change a little bit along the way, but you've still got to keep the essence that makes you different. You can't just go, right, that's fallen out of fashion now. That's what's fashionable. Let's start doing that. Because there's going to be someone else that's created that, the thing that's now become fashionable, that are the ones that are going to be the pioneers of that sound.
A lot of people do that though. When they try to move it, loads of people do that. That's where they go wrong.
Exactly. So, I mean, look, this, to be honest about it, the tech house scene blew with Solado, right? Mark and them were making different, I mean, Mark used to make dubstep. And then Mark and James created this sound and it just went bang. Overnight, I just sit there and then everyone was looking at it and going, oh my God, we need to start making that now. And I was hearing so many people try and copy it. I was just like, just leave them. Let them do what they're doing. Let them do their thing, innit? Why you now want to be them? And now people were sending me music. I'm like, where have you gone?
Yeah.
I can't hear you in your music anymore. It was like they were just wanting to be the next them so badly. And people get impatient. You know, people don't realize, I mean, look, like I said, we spoke about, it's longevity.
Yeah, 100%.
And you've got to be resilient and understand if it's meant for you, you're going to get it.
Yeah, 100%.
Whereas there's so many youngsters that come through and they're so desperate for it overnight. that they will do anything to get there.
There's loads.
And I'm like, bro, come on, man.
Are you mad at them though for that though? Are you?
No, you can't be mad at them. Not one person in this world thinks the same. So I can't tell them. As much as I try and advise people because of my experience in the game, this is, they're just so hungry. They're just going to try and jump on anything and anything and anything. And some of them do get a breakthrough, get somewhere, but it just consumes them and they get so
just into that other stuff that they forgot about their stuff.
Exactly. And then they lose themselves. And I don't know. It's, like I said, I was that person at one point. I was just doing what everyone else was doing. But now I've got to a point where I've got something that's mine and no one can ever take that away from me. No one can ever say I wasn't a massive part of creating deep tech. Not saying that I was the first person to ever make it. I just
felt like you had a big impact and you definitely had your own sound in that section.
Exactly. I've been credited for it on numerous occasions by loads of people that I don't even know. So I've got to say, do you know what? Yes, I did.
Yeah, why not?
I did help create that. And why am I going to leave that? That's mine. I'm going to hold on to it and I'm going to nurture it. And I'm not going to leave it alone just because it fell out of fashion for a little while. Because music goes around in 7-year cycles. Everything has its ups and its downs. And it's the ones that stay true to what they're doing that when it comes back around, the second coming is always bigger than the first time. You look at the younger DJs that are coming through now, you've got like Jada, you've got Iwiz, you've got Cause. Them guys are playing how I used to play when I was like that. They're playing the right energetic music. They're into the deep tech and I'm like, see? All the older guys that kind of shunned it and I've now got this whole new generation that I didn't even know, had no affiliation with, that I see coming through and I'm like, yes, go on. Yeah. Got a lot of the older guys that are like, oh, they don't want to know. They're trying to hold
Why are they like that though?
Because I don't know, they're insecure about them. They must be insecure about themselves. Innit? I'm not. I don't fear anyone coming up behind me. I don't fear anyone above me. I think I've got what I've got. I'm not going to start worrying whether this person's getting more bookings than me, that person's getting more bookings than me. What will be. I get booked where I get booked for my own merit, not for anything else. I get booked for what I've done.
What we've done, yeah.
What I do, not because I'm out there doing this for someone else or doing that. I understand there's a lot of networking involved, but that's not me. I just say, if you're going to book me, you're going to book me.
If not, you're not.
And again, we go back to the parties. Sometimes I feel bad because there are a few promoters that said to me, oh, when are you going to book me for your party then? And I'm like, but it's a label party. Unless you're making music and releasing on my label.
Oh, so your parties are okay.
It's just for artists on the label. Unless you was a headliner.
That's good,
I was having to put these headliners, but there's, I was like, but I've got all these artists that are making music for me. They might be unheard of or unknowns, but I've got a release coming from them, or where they're releasing with me. I'm going to push them. So that's what I try to do. And that's what I'm doing now more than ever. I've just scaled it right back. I'm like, right, do you know what? Not interested in nothing else apart from Audio Rehab. Is me and the guys that are releasing music with me.
I respectfully, I even kind of thought, all right, cool. Like, I see your lineup. I'm thinking, okay. But because I know all of them, I know some of them personally anyway, so I'm just like, sweet. But some people might think, how come they ain't got maybe that person or that person? But now you've broke it down, that it's your label party.
Exactly.
And I understand. But that's what I like about you as well. You're pushing your people, your team.
So much respect for everyone else in the scene, all the other guys doing their own parties that book me. So thankful for them. But when it comes to Audio Rehab, I'm just trying to do something completely different.
Yes, Audio Rehab is a big name, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not, I feel like you always pull a crowd regardless, not just to say that it's not your DJs, you draw them in, but DJs play a big part as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And for you to still sell out whatever, then it just shows, innit? It's not just about the DJs, it's the name as well. So everyone knows whatever name, when they hear Audio Rehab, they know what's going to happen now, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Of course, everyone knows the vibe they're going to
you know what I mean? So it's like, obviously, there's loads of raves. Everyone's doing events now. I think people are doing more events than before lockdown.
Got their money back, haven't they?
Yeah,
literally. It was so hard for so many people in lockdown that were just reliant on that. I mean, thankfully, I've got another business, so it's not just about music anymore for me. And it's given me the freedom to now do music the way I want to do it. because I'm not relying on it as
just that
as an income.
And okay,
you know, my income's from somewhere else.
I get it.
So the music again now is back to the love for me, rather than me going, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to sell this many people, I've got to get this DJ, that DJ. And really, this is not what I'm doing it for.
So now the pressure's kind of off you basically because you've got other income instead of, like you said, just focusing on just that. So if that don't go to plan, you're fucked.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think a lot of DJs are like that. I think a lot of DJs just rely on the raves. That's why I think they pump out raves like it's water. Not that it's an issue, you know what I mean? But some raves I go to, you see me, like, I like hearing different sounds, innit? Some of the ways I've been going to, it's just like, it's under, you just know it's under the same umbrella, you know it's the same promoter, and it's just, nothing's really different.
I get it. If that's what you're doing to pay your bills.
Yeah, obviously.
They're going to take any opportunity to do that. And don't get me wrong, that's what I was doing for a while, but I wasn't happy doing it that way.
Most of the promoters are like that. I think 95% of the promoters are like that.
Totally.
But it is, like you said, innit? If you've got stuff to pay with your bills, you're doing what you're doing, you know what I mean? Even like I got launching that coming, I was thinking to do that and I thought, forget it, that. I'm sticking to my sound and what I like. You know what I mean? So it's either you're with it or you're not with it. You know, I could have got big names or bigger names or whatever. I could have reached out to that and that and that. But I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to keep to what I want to do. Yeah. And I feel more, every time I look at the flyer and whatever, I feel happier because I feel like,
isn't that the point of doing it?
Yeah.
You know, I know so many, some of my mates that are promoters, they get so stressed, and even for me, putting on a party is stressful. Like I said, because I'm not a promoter and it's just me now. I had a partner, the first big one we did, but it was just me and Lawrence, was a Fire and Lightbox. That's when I was on Rinse as well. And that's when the label started. That was the label launch party. Wicked party. One of the best parties we've had. It was amazing in there. And then we went from there, got into Ministry. And we was at Ministry for 7.5 years. So like I said, it was already running as a party, but I came in.
Gave it structure and just took it over to the bigger things.
Because I could see the strength in the brand. Remember the first day I walked in there? I can't remember who I was with, but we both looked at it and went, that logo looks sick. And the name.
Yeah.
Just wicked. So I kind of adopted it and then took it on to where it is now. Created the label, created the actual sound for the brand to where it is today.
I even wanted to ask you about the Italy. You done something in Naples.
Amazing. So that was down to my boy Savio Testa. Big up Savio. I linked up with him. I'd got a release on a label from a guy from, I think he's from Germany, Dusseldorf, I'm sure he is. And he asked me if I wanted anyone that was on his label to do a remix. And I'd listened to a couple of tracks that Savio had done. And he had the kind of techie sound, but with those big bass lines that were similar to Audio Rehab. So I got him to remix my track on his label. And then we just became friends. Savio moved over to here because Savio's from Naples.
Oh, okay.
And then we just linked. And then he's like my little brother now. He'd had a couple of releases on label. He was playing at the parties. And then he was like, I need to take you to Naples.
Yeah, that's sick. When I saw that.
Went over there. The whole of Naples are like his family. I was treated like an absolute god. It was insane.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant. We did a few parties over. I've been twice.
Oh, you've been twice, yeah?
Yeah. But then obviously lockdown hit and stuff and you just couldn't go over there.
Yeah, because they were a bit stricter as well. Anyway, but it's on anyway, innit? Yeah.
And now Savio, he's kind of basically brought the whole of Naples to London. So they're all here now doing their parties and they're doing really well.
So he's brought his lot over and they've got a movement now as well. Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, they do a party called Way Out. It's called. They've done Fabric a few weeks ago. They're selling out Orange Yard every party. They're doing really well.
Okay, they got Fab, yeah? They sell out Fabrics as well. Yeah, that's a big one as well, isn't it? Yeah.
You know what the Italians are like.
Yeah,
they love it.
They love it.
God. They'll rave till 6 in the morning, go straight to work.
Love it.
They don't care.
Yeah, so your son DJs as well?
Yes.
Okay, so obviously he's got it from his dad anyway, innit?
He has, but he's got his own completely different sound.
Yeah.
He's not he loves the Audio Rehab sound, but he doesn't play it. He said to me from very, very early when he first started, he said, I don't want anyone to just think I'm getting away because I'm your son.
I'm Rad's son, yeah.
And he's naturally sick.
Yeah, I've been following him.
He came to the studio once. I think he'd been to a couple of Roseman. He's like, Dad, I want to learn how to DJ. I was like, wicked.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Come on, son.
Brilliant.
Come on, boy.
So he came to the studio and I basically showed him just the basics on a pair of CDJs, gave him a about 20 CDs. We was like, right, well, I went through the CDs with him. I was like, which tunes do you like? He said, I like that one, that one, that one. So I gave him all the CDs. I let him take the CDJs away, set them up in his house, blah, blah, blah. Said to him, right, go away and practice. When you're ready, come back.
Come back and speak to me. Yeah.
3 months later, he's been, Dad, he's like, I'm ready. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I think I'm ready. I was like, okay.
Sweet.
3 months, Okay. So I said, right, come back to the studio. So I quit the decks up, come back to the studio. So like, right, we'll record your mix so you can listen back to it. But the first mix he put together, I nearly cried. I was like, oh my God. He just got it.
Point.
Got it. The whole thing, just the way he was putting tracks together. He was listening to where the pad should come in with the pad and what bass line should go with what bass line. He wasn't just mixing 2 tunes together. He was listening to the structure of the tunes. And for someone to get that after 3 months,
that's
with him, it's natural. I could give him 10 tunes and he'd listen to them once and go, right, that's going to go with that, that's going to go with that, that's going to go with that.
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
As I say, it runs in the family.
Definitely.
Grandson, whatever, just all DJs, fuck it. You know, keep the name going. Totally. Legacy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You might want to hang up your boots soon.
Trust me.
You know what I mean? So obviously you just
I'd never hang him up. I've got to keep him on his toes.
Yeah. No, I love that. Still, that even stuff like that gives me joy as well. Do you know what I mean? When I see that,
it's an amazing feeling to be able to share your passion with your
son. See, that's sick. Yeah. I respect that though. There's a lot of DJs and there's some I respect. There's some I just think, alright, sweet, but especially someone like I said who's pushed the sound and carried the sound. You know what I mean? I think you need your flowers, and a lot of people don't give DJ their flowers. I mean, but I think personally, you get your flowers though. You know what I mean? I see you on everything. I see you on it.
Look,
I see you on everything, bro.
If it all ended tomorrow, I'd be so proud of what I've achieved and happy. Like I said, I've achieved more than I ever thought I would achieve. Obviously, you look at the bigger side of things, like the big festivals, the world, and I'm like, but you know what? If my sound's not meant for that, it's not meant for it.
Yeah, but you're on that. I saw you're on 51st. You're on 51st.
Yeah, of course I'm doing. Big up Mikey.
Yeah, you're on 51st. I swear I'm originals. I swear the originals. That's big. 51st is big. Yeah, you can keep going. We can keep going. Yeah,
exactly.
They're all big festivals.
100%. And I, like I said, I'm not going to change what I'm doing or the way I'm doing it just to get somewhere, because then I've not done it.
Yeah,
it's not me.
It's not you.
So, like I said, I go back to when I was a kid. I used to look at like Goldie, Metalheads, Andy C, Ram Records, Randall. They still do today what they was doing back then, but just grown it in their own way. Yeah. They've never gone, oh, someone's doing that, I'm going to jump on that. They're like, well, this is me. I'm going to grow this, and this is what's going to get worldwide. And that's my mentality. Mm-hmm. This is me. This is my sound. I'm not going to bend on it and play what... When people say to me, oh, you should play that because that person's playing that and they get a load of bookings, I'm like, but that's them. Why am I going to do what they're doing? I'm not going to change what I'm doing just because something else has got popular.
Yeah. That's true.
I even get people saying to me, oh, why don't you play a bit of Amapiano?
But you know, I feel like that's gonna.
Why would I do what someone else has got
doing it
popular doing?
Like I've come across a lot of frustrated DJs, complaining about why they don't get booked. Mm-hmm. But they ain't even been DJing for long, so in their head they think that because they've been DJing and they're playing good sounds to themselves, they should be getting booked, but they're not getting booked. Do you think? Personally, I think if you've got a rave, you're not really going to change your solution. You're not going to change what works. Mm-mm. So I was telling some DJ, listen, some promoters are not going to change what works. Mm. So regardless of what sounds you play, they still might not going to book you because they've got something what works already. Do you know what I mean? But I was trying to advise them, why don't you try and start your own rave?
Totally.
Like I said, a lot of DJs are just frustrated, but most of them are up and coming DJs. But I was trying to tell them, look, you're up and coming DJ, you've just started DJing. Mm-hmm. Like you still got to put in work.
Totally.
And a lot of them don't understand it's not overnight. And they think it's overnight.
No.
Then they think, they're getting this or they're getting that.
You've got to be giving, like I said, it goes back to the thing of what took me years to work out. You've got to be giving people something different. You've got to be different or doing your own thing. You look at this usually as an example, Jada, right? She's come from being she's a dancer, but her energy
is just different.
It's like you put her behind the decks and Even I look at her and I'm like,
yeah,
raw.
Same. And that's
I'm energetic behind the decks. People say I bring energy. That girl blows everyone out of the water.
yeah, her energy is
and
definitely.
that's why she's done so well, because she's got all her power. She does her streaming, and that's what I'm saying. Look at someone like that and think, what different energy are you bringing to the party? You've got Dragon and Talia, the hub. They've
got their own.
We had a few conversations. Dragon was like, I need to, and I said to them, do your own thing. Started their own parties. That was in ministry with me 2 weeks ago. They've been doing their party not even a year. So if you're a frustrated DJ, you've got to look at what DJs are breaking through or are getting bookings, and what are they doing that you're not. If you're just going to sit there and go, I should be getting booked, why aren't I getting booked? You're never going to get booked.
And a lot of them are like that.
You've got to say to yourself, what do I need? I'm going to book myself. Because they don't want to go and do the graft. I'd go and I would get out of my bed on a Sunday morning, drive to Brixton to play at Fridge Bar at like 6 a.m. to like 20 people for like 50 quid. Do that week in, week out. I live in Harlow. It's like a 2 hour, some days it could be a 2 hour drive for me.
Especially a drive, yeah.
Some days I'd go to after being out raving, I'd be dying, but I'd still go there and do it. Little after parties, I'd play at weekday parties with NG at like Union on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, shout out to NG.
Do you know? Big up NG and all like that. Mad after parties that I would play at for nothing. And I was like I said, I was a big man then. I was like in my 30s, but it was something that I knew. I was like, right, I'm breaking into something now, and I've got something, but I'm still nowhere near where I need to be. But I've got an energy, I've got a sound that people want to hear. I'm gonna go there, play it. I'm gonna go there and play it. I turn up in raves like Fridge Bar, so they're all playing like the funky stuff. I turn up playing them these dark,
just change it,
and everyone would be like, everyone would be going mad. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to keep putting yourself out there, doing something different until you get your break. Because if you're just sitting there going, I'm a sick DJ. When I play in the rave, it smashes up. But there's a million sick DJs out there. A million.
Trust me.
You've got to be doing something different. And thankfully, I was so persistent with it that God gave me that opportunity at that after party to do something different.
You showed it. Took it. You took the chance and it come, mate.
I had the opportunity to have an amazing residency where I could experiment with a different sound. And I just, because of my experience, because I've been doing it for so long, I could see the people coming through the door and I'd be like, rah, they want me to go that way. So I'm going to go in that direction and keep going in that direction. Whereas so many DJs, they're like, well, I'm playing this, I think it's juicy. I can't want to just play this. And then I'm like, but you're not playing for yourself. I could go into a rave and I could have, I'd never program a set ever, because how can you? You can't program a set because you don't know who's coming through the door.
You don't know what's happening, yeah. So what's your take on the sync button? All right.
Isn't that where you do your washing up?
All right, sweet. So what's your take on...
I didn't know he was allowed to swear.
All right, sweet. What's your take on the laptop DJs?
Each to their own, isn't it, bruv?
Okay.
Each to their own. Everyone's entitled to do what they want in whatever medium they want.
It's because I've seen some weird talk about not having headphones. What's that about?
Obviously when you're syncing and you can use Tractor, or some DJs might use Ableton Live where they've got their set already programmed. And
is that cheating though?
No, I wouldn't say it's cheating, because when they're doing it in that depth, they're doing a lot more with what they're doing musically.
But you could do both though. Laptop and no laptop, it's the same.
Yeah.
Isn't it really
I think when you got Tractor DJs and because you got someone like Richie Horton, like the techno DJs, everything they're doing is synced. They don't use headphones, but what they're doing is nuts because they're looping bits.
Oh yeah, because it's going fast as well, isn't it?
It's like they're remixing tracks live. And for that, you're like, you can't do that with the turntables. You need that technology to do that. And I do get why the sync button, the kitchen button can be used at times. Don't get me wrong, we go into clubs and sometimes it's like, how the hell am I supposed to mix on this? There could be the monitor shit, the sound system's too loud. So you're getting a reverb come from the club. The technology nowadays you need a sync button. You belong in the kitchen doing the washing up. You know?
I just wanted to hear your take on that.
There's times, the only time I will ever do any sync is if I'm doing a radio show and I've got interviews going on.
Okay, yeah, just that though.
You know, it's radio. No one wants to hear clang on the radio.
Yeah.
So, then it's about, it's not, I don't have to prove to anyone that I can mix.
Yeah, come on. Come on.
But if it's just playing music off of a laptop or off a USB and you're using the sync button, no. Learn your craft.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. You've got so many DJs that will go, oh my God, I'm a sick DJ, but you're pressing sync and just playing the top 10 of a beat pool. No, you're not a sick DJ.
Yeah. All right, sweet, Mark. Fucking legend, mate. I appreciate you. Definitely. No, look, I definitely appreciate you coming down.
You're welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, man.
Hopefully, whatever I've got coming up, we could maybe chop something up on whatever, man. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
But yeah, thanks for coming down.
You're welcome, bro.
I appreciate
absolute
you, bro.
Pleasure. Respect. Bless.